The National Treasury is proposing to raise excise tax over a range of products by 10% in what could raise price of goods starting July this year. Yatani hopes to raise tax revenues by an estimated 50 billion shillings, with the government hoping to collect or generate up to 2.4 trillion shillings in revenue. This, as the National Treasury is proposing to change how the country's debt ceiling is calculated from an absolute figure to making it a percentage of the GDP.
The National Treasury Cabinet Secretary enumerated a plan to finance the 3.3 trillion shillings, a mix of tax revenues, grants and loans. The government hopes to collect up to 2.4 trillion shillings, of which 2.14 trillion will be in form of taxes. There will be grants of 33 billion shillings, leaving a deficit of 862 billion shillings. Of the government revenue, income tax, meaning taxes on salaries, benefits and company profits, will contribute 40.8%, while value-added tax on commodities is expected to contribute 23.9%. Excise tax is expected to raise 12.1% of the revenue. To achieve this, the CS is proposing to raise excise tax of various products by 10%. Even though Yatani failed to disclose some of the affected products, petroleum products have been shielded.
In the bill, I have also proposed to increase the specific rates of excise duty for a number of products by 10% to generate additional revenue for the government. Given the recent global increase in oil prices, I have excluded petroleum products from this increase.
Even on questioning, the CS is tight-lipped on affected products.
I confidently assure you that this is a Mwananchi-friendly budget. No surprises as you unpack the finance bill. You'll see for yourself that whatever we are proposed to do is for the greater good of the Kenyan public. The issues where we are raising taxes are things that have been a social problem to our community.
The National Treasury is also targeting to raise billions by introducing excise tax on advertising of alcohol, betting and gaming products. To discourage use of e-cigarettes, the CS is introducing a new formula of taxing liquid nicotine, whose excise tax will now be 70 shillings per milliliter. Back to the deficit of 862 billion shillings, the government will borrow 280 billion shillings from the foreign market, while 581 billion shillings will be borrowed locally. At a time that the national debt is inching closer to the 9 trillion shillings ceiling, the government now has a window of 400 billion shillings only.
The current legal numerical public debt ceiling has constrained public funding of projects, while at the same time failing to consider the effects of external shocks on the economy.
The CS now is proposing to change how the debt ceiling is arrived at, that it will be set at 55% of the country's GDP. Analysis of the budget speech suggests that the GDP is now at 13.9 trillion shillings. Were the debt ceiling to be at 55%, it would be set at 7.6 trillion shillings. Yet, it's expected to hit 8.6 trillion shillings by June. At that time, it will be 61.8%, assuming the GDP is to be at the same rate. This then raising questions of how the National Treasury will tabulate the GDP, or it may force the government to rebase the economy.
Further, we provided a requirement that the Cabinet Secretary National Treasury reports to Parliament whenever the debt level swings beyond the threshold with time-bound remedial actions.
And so, in the end, the more things change, the more they remain the same. Even though the National Treasury may want to offer reliefs to Kenyans, the demand for more resources is evident for a country that still suffers the weight of rising public debt. Sam Gituko, Ksh3.3 TV at Parliament.